if you take a look at the old infrastructure of the financial system in general, you take on the retail side, we have the SWIFT system. You've got the DTC system. You've got the ACAT system. You've got, I don't even know what Zelle and all these payment processors do, but it's, at the time, it's like you had to have all these different systems because you didn't know what Europe used. You didn't know what specific exchanges or countries used, and so they would come up with different systems. But everybody has a communication system called the interweb. Well, it's like maybe you should upgrade.
Well, one of the I have 2 points.
Single ledger. Come on, it's not that hard, right?
2 points for you on that one. In that, I think a lot of people in the crypto digital asset space want to poo-poo traditional finance. Look, it works. It doesn't work as well as we'd like it to, but it works. The U.S. has a really, really high functioning financial system. But people have been trying to settle transactions on the weekend for, 100 years. We still can't do it. You can get money through Zelle, you can get money through Venmo, whatever you want, but it actually doesn't settle. And so that's why we have big weekend problems. Anyone who lived through GFC at Goldman, at any of the big shops, like they spent the weekend trying to figure out who owed who overnight. That was a big problem because we can't clear transactions instantly. And that's not, again, a panacea. There are issues with that. There are issues with low liquidity times. We can go through all of these different things. But we still do things in an incredibly inefficient manner. Yesterday, a company called Siemens in Germany cleared a bond issuance on a public blockchain platform. Their alternative was doing it on paper, with paper. And that's sort of where we're at right now, guys. It's been scotch taped together for so long that we didn't need to fix it. It worked. We pushed through it. These guys were making enough money. They never cared. No one cared about infrastructure in 2008. And then from 2012 to 2020, what were they dealing with? They were dealing with politicians yelling at them, with the CFPB, with, what are the next CCAR requirements we're going to have? What are the next capital requirements we're going to have on Dodd-Frank? Am I over 10 billion? Is Durbin relevant to me? All of these different things that banks had to worry about. And so infrastructure got put on the back burner. And that's sad and that's unfortunate. But what it looks like today, contrasting, I would say, crypto to what traditional finance looks like, is that crypto to me is really like a container ship. If you go to any port in the world, containers all have the same dimensions. They have the same height, weight, all of these restrictions. So I can go to Long Beach, I can go to Tokyo, I can go to Cape Town, and it's all the same stuff. If you look at the traditional finance, infrastructure, we have triangular containers, we have hexagonal containers, we have round containers, and each of those requires a different ship, a different truck, and it's just really, really inefficient. We have a lot of the support for this, but it's clunky, it's inefficient. And so having a homogeneous, everything works together, everything clicks together, that's the money Legos that crypto and that DeFi is to me.
Yeah, and it seems like there's so many different companies that are trying to solve that single payer system, that single point of sale, single point of contact. Like, one of the disruptor 50s from last year, I think, was Flexport, right? And and I couldn't understand. I was like, it's a container company, but it isn't really, right? And that just popped into my head because I was like, okay, so how are they making it more efficient? I didn't realize how much all of those original companies and how they didn't know when the container was actually going to make it to the port, which wasn't going to be able to fit on the ship, which wasn't going to be able to stack in the right place. And that's, again, staying with the alliteration, it's like it makes sense that you would have the same infrastructure worldwide for electronics and for clearing money that you would for something as basic as shipping goods, right?
There are so many funny parallels, and I think people look at these and say, what's the next thing we're going to fix? What's the first thing we can fix? And unfortunately, that's a little difficult. So you say, hey, I want to fix banking infrastructure. Well, that's an oligopoly of 2 to 3 guys. And they have hundreds of billions of dollars at stake keeping it the way that it is. So that's a really, really hard business to change. A company I was a CFO of tried to change how mortgage companies process mortgage loans and try to make that process more efficient. That is a oligopsony. You have really 2 or 3 big buyers and a ton of little different sellers. That's a really hard business to change. And that's what financial services today. And so that's a long dated uphill battle. Where I think there's more opportunity right now is sort of brownfield and greenfield opportunities. You look at carbon credits. If you want to trade carbon credits, you call up your broker and you're trading a piece of paper. That's a really, really interesting avenue for people to use blockchain, for people to use digital assets. A lot of people are talking about tokenizing real estate, tokenizing stocks. I'm less excited about that. I think it will come. It should come. It should probably be more efficient. But again, that's not the 0 to 1 step that I think that digital asset markets can really help with. I guess I would maybe taking a step back too is we talk to a lot of investors and say, well, these aren't currencies. They are not currencies. You have one cryptocurrency. It's probably Bitcoin. We can argue about that. That's not really why I'm here. That doesn't do anything for me. And I think that's fantastic. I think it really kicked off kind of a revolution. But I don't have a dog in that fight, so to speak.
Right.
Where what we like to invest in, what we like to focus on, is businesses that live on the internet. This is no different than how Facebook, Google were interesting ideas years ago, but it's businesses that live on the blockchain. They're enabled by cryptography, and the world is your oyster at that point.